Hi everybody, this is Brenda from Slapout Homestead. Today we are going to be canning some meat. Yes, you heard me right, canning meat. Okay, so I have my pressure canner here. This is not a pressure cooker, this is a pressure canner. Here's the difference. A pressure canner has a dial on it that tells you what your pressure is. You have to maintain a certain pressure for a certain amount of time to can meat or vegetables. Now when you're canning fruits or jams, jellies, whatever, you use a water bath, and that's because it's a high acid. When you get into meat and vegetables, you're talking about a low acid. That's why you have to add in the pressure. And if you look, you can see when it gets up to 10 pounds pressure, you're actually at 240 degrees. You can't reach 240 degrees with a water bath canner. You're only going to get up to 212. And you need it to get up to 240. Now this is at our elevation, it's at 10. Get up to 240 degrees when you're pressure canning. That way you can kill all the junk and stuff that's inside that you don't want inside with your food. Now this particular model needs 3 quarts of water. Every model is different, so you just look at your owner's manual and see. But this one takes 3 quarts of water down in there, and then we're going to put in we have ground venison. Get that. Ground venison, I already marked them. Ground venison, and I put my date on them. Put it in there raw. I let it sit out a little bit so that it wouldn't be cold. Ground venison, ground venison. And then this one, I had a little bit of ground venison left, so I mixed in a 9-ounce package of chorizo. So I marked that, ground venison and chorizo. I'll show you the chorizo that I used. It's this one. Isn't that funny? It says gluten-free. People usually know that meat is gluten-free, right? Anyway, packaging and marketing. Gluten-free pork chorizo. Mix that right in there. That'll make some yummy taco meat. Now this is going to cook inside the cans. Right, this is venison, garlic, and green onion sausage. I'll show you what that comes. Garlic and green onion, and it comes in a package like that from the deer processor. Trying to clean all this meat out of my freezer to make room for some meat birds. Venison, garlic, and green onion sausage. You can see it's just. Cut it into pieces. Cut it into chunks. We've got 4 of those. And they're all 4 going to go in. We're going to turn on our heat. I'm going to get that hot. I'm going to go ahead and put on my lid. So here goes the lid. Oh, actually, I forgot. This is usually the point where I remember this. Gonna put a little bit of oil on that seal. So yeah, I'm just gonna use a little bit of oil and put it on that seal. It just helps it seal up better. Here's my finger. Alright, just about got our seal oiled up. You can use this same process with any kind of sausage. It makes it shelf stable. Alright, our seal is nice and oiled up. good. I always remember that just as I'm trying to tighten it. Alright, got our seal on there. Now what we do at this point, we bring that water in there up to a boil. Here, let me bring you around here. We bring that water up to a boil, and then we turn the heat down and down and down until we get steam coming out of this right here. For 10 minutes we let steam come out, and at that point this little jobby right here will close. We put our weight, on there. See, there's the weight that comes with it. After steam's coming out of there for 10 full minutes, we put our weight on there, and then we gradually turn our heat down until it's still going, still getting steam out, and we want it to poof every 20 seconds or so, so 3 times a minute. And that's where we keep our heat underneath. I'm going to be staying in the kitchen while this is going on, because I don't know if you've ever heard your grandma or whatever talk about that time where the pressure canner exploded. And that's what happens when you walk away from it. So I'm going to be staying here in the kitchen. We're going to get this water in here right now up to a good boil, so we get steam coming out of there for 10 full minutes. We'll put our weight on, and when we get up to 10 pounds of pressure, that's when we'll start doing our timing, and we'll do it for 90 minutes. So yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a process, but what it's doing is it's getting this meat out of my freezer, making it shelf stable, so I don't have to keep it in the freezer. I won't lose my meat if we lose power. Don't have to worry about eating it real quick. Plus, it frees up the space in my chest freezer for some meat birds, and we want to get some meat birds going. So after this gets going, that's going for 10 minutes, I'll turn the camera back on and I'll show you what's going on. Okay, so we are at our 10 minutes, and we're going to put our weight on top. You can see there's still steam coming out of this one. That means it hasn't sealed up yet. But as soon as enough pressure builds up, that will close, and then we'll start seeing the dial go up, and this will do that little dancing thing that they do, and then we'll just keep adjusting our heat until we get to where we're getting 3 dances a minute. So I'll stand, and once this starts doing its thing and we get up to 10, I put that tape on there because this has a crack in it, and it gets condensation inside, and it's hard to see where the tin is after a while, you'll see. So I put a little piece of tape on there so I'll know, I'll be able to tell. So that one's acting like it's about gonna close. See it? Isn't that funny how it's dancing? But that one will actually close, and then this one will dance. And once we get this up to 10 pounds pressure and a 20-second delay between our dances, then we start our timer for 90 minutes. And I'll come back and show you at that point when the 90 minutes is up. Look, that just closed. See? This one right here just closed. So now we'll start getting steam coming out of here, and our pressure will start going up. So 10 pounds of pressure every 20 seconds on this jobby, and then for 90 minutes. And I'll be back. Alright, we've gone our 90 minutes. You can see we got up to our pressure over the tape. So now that we're finished with our 90 minutes, I'm going to turn off the heat, and we're just going to walk away. We're not going to pull that weight off. We're not going to pop this lid. We're just going to leave it alone and come back later, make sure that's all the way down to 0, take that weight off, wait 10 more minutes, then we'll open the top and see what's going on inside. While we're waiting our 10 minutes to be able to pop the top on our pressure canner and see how our ground venison did, I wanted to show y'all, see these Classico pasta sauce jars? Those actually accept regular sized canning lids. 3 jars with your pasta sauce. This is what the ground venison looks like when it's cooled. You get the meat at the bottom, a layer of fat, and then there's also meat up in there. Now, when I pull this out to eat it, it crumbles up very, very nicely. It has the best texture. You wouldn't believe it. I also have some chunks, some venison chunks that I did. They make their own liquid. So it's like yummy broth. Delicious. And the best texture ever on that ground venison. If you do get ground venison and you want to cook it fresh, straight out of the freezer or whatever, thaw it and cook it, the best way to do it is not to fry it in a skillet. Here's why. If you fry it in a skillet, you're going to lose all the fat off of it, and it's going to be tough. If you're going to cook thawed venison out of the freezer, you want to poach it, which means put it in some boiling water, or put it in some water, bring it up to a boil, and just let it simmer for a little bit. And that way the fat, they add that. That's like beef fat. That's not venison fat. That's beef fat that they add to it there at the processor. The fat stays in the meat, and it'll be soft, and it won't be so tough. Now, since we pressure canned this, it doesn't matter that the fat rendered off, because the meat's still going to be soft. Oh, it's got the best texture. You really wouldn't believe it until you try it. But anyway, there's a tip for using your venison straight out of the freezer, thawed of course, is don't fry it like you do ground beef and lose all the fat, because then you'll end up with chewy meat. Alright, we'll go check on our stuff in a little bit when it's time. Alright, we are there. We are out. This is our ground venison. You can tell that the chorizo left a little residue in the pan. It's no big deal. This is the venison with the chorizo. It's still cooking. And you can see the sausage. They made juice. See, look at all that liquid that came out of the sausage. But yes, this is going to sit here, and it's going to cool off, and then we're going to take the rings off. Yes, we need to talk about how to store these now. You have to take the rings off. Don't store them with the rings on them. That's this outer ring right here is what I'm talking about. Also, you don't stack them, because if you stack them, it could fool you into thinking that that's sealed when it's not. And you don't want bad stuff growing down in there. If it's not sealed and that lid is allowed to pop up, then you'll be able to see mold on the top and on the inside, and you won't eat it. If you have a jar sitting on top, or if you leave the ring on, you're holding that lid down even though it's not got a good seal, and the stuff that's the yuckies are going to grow down in there where you can't see it. And then there's a better chance that you're going to eat it when you shouldn't eat it. So, store them with the rings off. Don't stack them on top of each other. That's a no, don't do that. And then you will be safe and good with your canned meat. That's all I have for this video. These are going to sit here and cool. We're going to take the rings off and get them nestled into their cabinet in the other room. As you can, I don't know if you can still see that, but that's still cooking in there. Still cooking. Not quite finished. So these are going to sit here probably the rest of the day, and then they're going to go in their cabinet where they're going to live until we're ready to eat them. I'm looking forward to those venison, garlic, and green onion sausage and some red beans and rice. Now that sounds delicious. And the venison mixed with the chorizo, that's going to be some awesome taco meat. And it's shelf stable. See y'all on the next video. Love y'all. Bye.